Hi there, Malcolm here with my 290th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a review for Journey to the Centre of the Earth by Jules Verne. This is the first Jules Verne I have ever read, and I haven't really seen anything by Jules Verne either. Growing up I did catch a couple of the Around the World in 80 Days animated thing, but I never saw two in succession. And I've seen the clip of the giant squid attack of the ship from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but that's about it. I've got quite a sizable TBR stack. This is on there, and was one of the few books that is currently free to listen to on Audible. So I thought, while I'm reading everything else, I'll listen to this. So I did. And this was read to me by the wonderful Tim Curry, who I thought did an admirable job, particularly when it came to all those difficult Icelandic words. Set during the mid-1800s, a professor of geology and his nephew, Axel, discover a cryptic account by an explorer 200 years previously, who claimed to have found a means to getting to the centre of the Earth. And the professor, along with his hapless nephew, try to retrace the steps in the account. And as they do so, we encounter various surprising and interesting things along the way. Of course, whenever you read anything that is as old as this, which are arguably some of the first examples of a story of this kind, stories that come after it will have used it as their influence, maybe even reference it or rewrite it or revisit it entirely, and are thereby derivative of this, meaning when you actually get back to the original vanilla story, all the things that later writers add to the theme are missing. I found Frankenstein particularly suffered from this, and so in this one they go on their fantastical journey where one could argue that not an awful lot really happens in it. However, I would say that the way the story unfolds is very approachable. There are nearly 50 chapters in this book, meaning that every chapter is about 10 pages long, or about 10 to 15 minutes long, inaudible. And so nice bite-sized chunks, really. And what I really loved about this was the language. I mean, obviously this was translated from Jules Verne, who was French, into mid to late 19th century English. And so the vocabulary in this is beautiful, with many great words that you don't often encounter in modern books. And the adventure itself, although rather lackluster by today's exciting standards, taken in context of the time it was written, turns out to be quite a remarkable adventure, with lots of interesting little things that do happen and discoveries that they make. The main negative I have for this really are the characters. The story is told from the point of view of Axel, who's clearly writing an account of his adventures having got back home again, so you know he's going to survive, so there's that little mystery taken out of the way. And Axel, well, he's a bit wet really. At first sign of trouble, ooh, we're all going to die. You know, he's the one that actually just discovers the true meaning of this mysterious text in the first place, and then tries to cover it up, because he doesn't want to go on the journey, and he knows that if his uncle finds out the true meaning of this, then they're going to go on the journey. Of course, it's only so long he can keep the pretext up. He hasn't got the willpower to keep it to himself long enough, and so they go on this journey. But yeah, every time he's the one that gets lost, he's the one that gets hurt, he's the one that falls over and bangs himself. He's the one that sees something and goes, oh, we're going to die because of this thing we've just seen. You know, I'm not quite sure what his fiancée sees in him, to be honest. So he did get on my nerves a little bit. But on the other side of the scale is his uncle, because I'm looking in here to remind myself on the names. All the names are changed. I thought he was Axel, whereas here he's called Harry. That's a bit weird, because his fiancée is Gräuben, and it's Gretchen in the book. I'm having to Google it, because it's not in my book, because my book is Professor Hardwig, whereas in the Audible and Google, he's Professor Lindenbrock. So that's a bit weird. I wonder why they changed it from my book. Okay, I've just researched it. Apparently, some of the earlier translations embellished the story a hell of a lot and changed names and everything. I seem to have that version, whereas the more accurate translation is the one I listened to. And this is also titled A Journey to the Centre of the Earth. Yeah, I've only got 44 chapters in this novel, whereas I'm sure it was nearer 50 in the Audible. Yeah, quick bit of research. In this version, apparently they've changed a lot of the details and removed a lot of the scientific jargon. The opening chapters in the version I listened to are quite heavy in mineralogy. There's a lot of geodes and different rocks and stuff. But then it's Tim Curry reading it to me, so I can listen to geology read to me by Tim Curry, no problem. So yeah, I might actually get rid of this, because this is the crap version. I want the proper version, thank you very much. So get rid of that. Have the image instead. That's what I actually listen to. I can bugger off. Inferior product. So where was I? Yeah, so Professor Lindenbrock, he's a bit of an arse really. He may be a savant, as the book uses quite a lot for various different characters. Never heard that word used quite so much in one book, or even in one chapter, to be honest. While trying to decipher this mysterious text, he locks up the house so no one can enter or leave, meaning that Axel, the housemaid, are going to starve to death unless he resolves this problem, which is why Axel does indeed back down and tell him, well, if you hold it this way and do this, you'll... sort of thing. I mean, he's steadfast, he's resolute, he's the main reason the journey happens and continues to happen, and he's very patient, I would say, with Axel's constant whinings and whingings. Although to take such a feeble individual along on such a mammoth journey wasn't necessarily the wisest of things, but then he didn't want to take a rival. He wanted to take someone who was in the Lindenbrock corner. And he does have a couple of moments of compassion and humanity about him, which almost redeem him, but no, he's an arse throughout. And the third character is an Icelandic eiderdown hunter by the name of Hans. And I couldn't help but imagine an Icelandic version of this guy from Brave. Not a big speaker, but strong and reliable when needed. Their constant, silent companion through the bowels of the earth, and completely unflappable. Now, Axel and his uncle are oohing and eyeing at all the amazing things they encounter. Hans doesn't seem to care one way or the other, which is quite interesting. But very much a there and back again tale, knowing that they're going to get back because it's written by Axel. And of course, you know, Axel's going to survive through all this, then there's no chance that Professor Lindenbrock wouldn't. So there's no real sense of peril or threat. And Hans is so quiet throughout most of the book, you forget he's there until he reaches out and rescues them once again from whatever they've blundered into. But I really enjoyed it. I'm not quite sure how much of it was because I had Tim Curry read it to me, or that it was the proper version of the book. Well, that crap. So I love the language, but also I'm enjoying the origins of various subsequent tales that have used this as their starting point to then add more fantastical creatures and events and underlying plots and twists and things. Happened here first, and what a beginning it is too. Has it stood the test of time? I would say yes, it has. I mean, if you're used to more modern stories, then you might find it a little bit lacking. But if you're able to accept it for the time period that it was written and when it was based, you should get on well with this. Booktastic, a worthy classic. I'm going to have to get a proper version of it. So, have you read Journey to the Centre of the Earth, or have you read A Journey to the Centre of the Earth? And did you know there was a difference before this very video, which I didn't? Which one have you read? Do you have a preference? Have you listened to Tim Curry read it to you? If not, it's worth doing. Or what other Jules Verne story have you enjoyed? I've just started The Mysterious Island. Bit of a bigger one. Yeah, this was 9 hours, 20 minutes. Mysterious Island is 19 hours and something, so a bit more of a commitment there. So comment down below, please, but as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTubey things if you want. And until next time, see you later. Be gone with you.